You're probably editing with a lot of mistakes in your footage unknowingly, and I want to talk about the top 5 ones that are probably ruining your project right now. Starting off with the first one, which is shooting in your parents' greenhouse for no apparent reason other than the fact that it looks really cool. Let's get out of here. I've always just wanted to shoot in there. Now that I did, satisfied, box checked, getting into point number 1 for editing, which is your audio cuts. Whenever you go and film something, the big thing that you're probably messing up is having blank spaces in your audio, kind of these hard chops. The fastest way to fix this problem in Premiere Pro is to highlight all of your clips, right-click, do auto transition, whoop, they all have a nice fade in them. Now those fades can be a little bit long, so you can actually go into Premiere Pro's custom settings, fix the audio fade duration handle to about 48 frames, and now this is gonna give you a 2-second fade. Slap that on almost every single piece of audio, and you're gonna get a nice, smooth, crispy transition-ease. The biggest one and number one is your pacing. It just feels kind of off. The number one thing to know about pacing is to kill your darlings. Typically, a lot of young filmmakers and start-out filmmakers want to keep everything. It's that beautiful, nice slow motion shot, that amazing montage that you shot. But if it doesn't serve the purpose of the story or doesn't feel right within the video, you need to cut it. The best way actually to watch something and to get a feeling of it is to watch it with someone else in the space. It's so weird, but when you watch a movie with someone in the space with you, you end up starting to understand what feels uncomfortable, because the whole time you're like, what are they thinking? What are they watching? Okay, this should be an obvious one, but I've even gone to like big film festivals where they've premiered their movie and it still happens. And this one is frames of black, where you're watching through your movie and there's like a random frame of black where you didn't put 2 clips together. This is the biggest sign of a bad edit, and it totally removes you from the film. A quick thing to understand is if it's an error that happens for only a frame or 2 frames and less than, let's say, 3 seconds, there's no way anyone will ever forgive it as a stylistic choice, and they'll just recognize it as an error. If the error plays longer than 3 seconds, then you might be able to get away with it as being a stylistic choice, but I still recommend fixing your errors. Like, just be like, oh, this random audio hiccup lasts for 3 seconds. It's fine.
I've always felt like I need to go to the beat of my own drum.
Export your video with good audio. Now, the number one audio thing you should remember outside of audio gaps is music. When music or sound effects override dialogue, it can always take you out of the scene because you can't hear anything. As soon as people are trying to listen over music, they get taken out of the project and they start remembering that they're watching a film. Make sure your music is set to a good level, and the best way to do that is typically songs that are exported with a proper mix over top of dialogue should go down to about minus 30 dB. If you want to be safe, do minus 35. Now, some songs are exported at different audio wavelengths, but the vast majority of them work really well around minus 32 to minus 35, with the odd ones being around minus 40. But the best way to understand it is to listen to it with some bad headphones or on the speakers on your computer and go, is the dialogue audible or is it not? First tip, don't climb a tree in the rain. All right, I'm taking off my jacket to make it look like I just came from outside. The biggest thing that most filmmakers get wrong, this is in every asset of filmmaking, not just being a content creator, is style over story. You're gonna watch a big Hollywood movie and see this all the time. Style typically reigns supreme on a lot of mainstream content, but there's always story at the core of it. Even to some of the worst Marvel movies ever made and some of the biggest blockbuster flops, there's still some sort of story at the core of this. That was the script that sort of got it into production. Now, I'm sure you and I can both argue about whether or not it's good. Story's at the core of something. And the best way to determine your story throughout an edit is by doing a style of editing I like to call doing a pass, which is essentially I do 3 passes on every project. My first pass is after the preliminary edit. So once you've already put something together, watch through it and see how you feel. This is going to determine, is your video even anything good without the music, without the fun and flash? And if it doesn't hold any substance without the final layers, then you're probably missing something. Now, that's not to discredit good music, good sound design, and a good color grade, but 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't feel like anything without the additional layers, there might be something missing already. You always wanna use whatever those additional layers are within your project as something that can elevate it, not be its only support system. Then add in your color grade, your music, some basic sound design, and then watch it with that pass. This is really gonna let you know, okay, maybe we've got something, do we need to add a scene here? Should we add a couple extra B-roll shots to give it a little bit of filler? And then finally, I like to finish everything off on my final pass. This is after I've added music, sound effects, sound design. And this is where I can do additional tweaks, whether it's adding a couple little graphics in, some final title cards, you name it. Those are sort of the last minute adjustments. Start with the basics, which is your footage and your primary story, and then layer on top of that. And you're really gonna determine if your project is good or not. If you start backwards by figuring out your titles, your color grade, and music and sound effects before figuring out what the heck you're shooting, you might be in a bad spot already. Don't rely on the edit, rely on the shoot. You're really gonna get something good. Thanks for watching, listening, and learning. Absolutely love you guys. And we're almost at 100,000 subscribbles, which you know what that means. We're the 100,000 subscriber gods come out of the sky whenever you get to that number, and you become validated for the rest of your life. And isn't that what we all want, is some sort of validation? Help me out, I'm just kidding. That sounds so terrible. You guys have a great day. You know what, don't subscribe. Well, you can, but I don't wanna force anything on you. If you feel like you should do the thing, you know what, we're just gonna end this with a big I love you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully these things help.